full. And now the Secretary General of IndustriAll, Luc Triangle.
Thank you very much. So, Luc Triangle, IndustriAll Europe, the European Federation of the Industrial Workers in most industrial and manufacturing sectors, including also steel and aluminium. I invite you to look at our website and what we published so far on this issue. So it was clear to us that this measure and this initiative and this decision by the Trump administration and by President Trump has the risk that it might affect a lot of workers and jobs in Europe. And in the past, it was not always easy in the steel industry to get all the trade unions in steel on one and the same line. But on this point, they are very united. So we condemn, as Industrial Europe, and we condemn with all the trade unions in the steel industry in Europe strongly the tariffs which have now been announced by Trump and by the United States. On the other hand, it's also clear that we, as trade unions, understand that trade is important to create growth and to create jobs. But free trade must also be fair trade, and these tariffs risk to put that in danger, that we create indeed unfair trade in the future. The problem is also that we are to deal here with a president in the United States who is doing politics not according to the manuals that we are used to know. And that's also a point, and that he understands probably only rebalancing initiatives as a countermeasure from the European Union. So in that sense, we also support the statement by the Commission that we need to counteract, not overact, but also not underact. In that sense, we also support your statement before. I can tell you also that we are in close contact with our American colleagues, because you have seen when Trump signed his decision that he was surrounded by steelworkers, American steelworkers, many of them affiliated to the United Steelworkers Trade Union in the United States. So we are in close contact because we believe, and that's the role that we can play as European Trade Union, that we have to explain to our American colleagues that what he decided now in the United States will be detrimental also for the American workers in steel, certainly in steel, but also in the manufacturing, because products will become more expensive because, and I'm not going into the details because of the timing, but many products in the United States are manufactured with European steel. And in that sense, it will be also detrimental. So that's the role we can play, and that we also play today to convince our American counterparts of this negative effect at the end of the day, also on their jobs and on their industries. So to summarize, we support the European Commission with rebalancing measures, but proportional, because what we certainly have to avoid is an escalation of the trade war. But unfortunately, we have to do with someone in the United States, in Washington, who only understands a language about action and counteraction and reaction. So rebalancing measures certainly needs to be put on the table, but proportional. Secondly, we need to continue to make clear to the United States that Europe needs the exemption on the tariffs for many reasons, and they have been raised already before. But even, and in that sense, I also would go along the line that Axel previously said, even in the case of an exemption, we need to consider safeguarding measures. Safeguarding measures because there will be a surplus, an even bigger surplus on the market of steel, and it risks to be dumped on the European market because it cannot enter anymore the American markets. So we need to have safeguarding measures. But we need to be clear, and we need to know what these safeguarding measures might have as effect on certain countries, because safeguarding measures will also have and may also lead to counter effects by these affected countries. And in that sense, it could lead to a further escalation of a trade war, and that's certainly then also not our objective. So safeguarding measures, yes, but they need to be well calculated. They need to be considered. We have to be also here proportional, so that we don't give ammunition to those that want to indeed go for a further trade war at global level. So that's the contribution we do on behalf of the worker side in the industry. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Luc.